There we go. How about now? Hopefully you can hear me now at this point. So many issues with Twitch this last week or so. Hopefully you can hear me now at this point. So listening to myself on my phone. So can you all hear and see me okay before I keep going? If someone could let me know in the chat, that would be fantastic. I'm so sorry to have to push things back. Thank you. Okay, perfect. I've been trying to stream on campus after my class, and for whatever reason, the Wi-Fi is so poor on campus that I have not been able to get onto Twitch. So I hurried home and I am at home now and on here. So sorry for the little bit of a delay, but I did not want to have to post a video again and skip out on our time together. So thank you for those of you who are here. If you're watching this later, thank you for watching it later. But what I want to do is I want to go over weeks 1 and 2 are now done. We are in weeks number 3 and 4. So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the last 2 weeks and what that looked like, and then what we have going on for this week. So if we head over to Canvas together, again, weeks 1 and 2 are now complete, and we are in week number 3 and 4 as of yesterday morning. So what you will traditionally see is once weeks 1 and 2, or in this case 3 and 4 next time end, that Monday I will grade everything, and you'll see your scores pop up for the exam and all of your scores for the discussions and everything as well. And so I just want to make a couple of kind of general comments about the first 2 weeks, and then we'll look at the next 2. So if we go back to weeks 1 and 2 for a moment here, largely nicely done, right? So if we look at the 4 discussions that were due so far, for the most part, a lot of you got full points or very, very close to. Just a couple of things that I noticed in general. Don't forget to respond to a classmate. So remember, if we click on discussion 1, for example, your responses to my questions are worth a total of 13 points. And then 2 points for your responses to a classmate. And there were quite a few people who forgot to reply to a classmate or didn't do so consistently. Those are a very easy 2 points, so you want to make sure that you're always getting those. But for the most part, for discussion 1, really nicely done. A lot of kind of fun stereotypes or notions of the field of psychology. Good job talking about the subfields. Where people missed the most points was on this last bullet. Some people forgot to define nature and nurture. Other people just didn't quite give me enough. Remember that this is your chance to show off your understanding and comprehension of the materials. How well can you explain that and apply it? And so think of them as more like mini papers rather than a short discussion prompt. Really elaborate, make sure you go into detail. And I did give you feedback on your scores using the rubric, and then I oftentimes put some comments in there. So make sure that you are looking over that. I'll show you where you can find that information here in a couple of minutes. For discussion number 2, I enjoyed reading all of your research ideas. If you could be a psychologist and research anything, what would you do? A lot of you talked about things related to your grades. Some people talked about things related to sleep, very popular topic. But the biggest reason people lost points here was just not quite giving me enough. Again, always elaborate, always better to give me more than not enough. And of course, don't forget to reply to a classmate as always. For discussions 3 and 4, same kind of general trends. For discussion 3, we were looking at the topic of neurons and how they communicate and the 10% myth. I hope you found that to be interesting. I always think the 10% myth is a really interesting idea that a lot of people tend to believe in. It's a wonderful thought. If we could access the rest of our brain, what we could do. But sadly, we do use all of our brain just in different ways and at different times. But the biggest reason people lost points was this bullet right here. Okay, referencing the specific chain of events and processes involved, describe how neurons communicate with each other. I was looking for you to mention something related to electrochemical communication, that neurons communicate in an electrochemical fashion, the electrical piece being made up of those ions that cause the cell to fire, and then the chemical piece being controlled by neurotransmitters, which keep the message floating across the synapse to be picked up by the next neuron. I would say by far that was the point where people lost points the most, just not quite getting that right, not mentioning electrochemical communication, or just not giving me quite enough. Otherwise, for the most part, again, really nicely done on discussion number 3. And then finally, discussion number 4, I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to smell some random items and see what memories and associations came up. I always think of like grass, for example. When I smell wet grass, I instantly think of soccer and like Saturday mornings playing soccer with my kids and with me when I was younger. So I hope you enjoyed that opportunity. A lot of you talked about kind of random memories and things that popped up. The biggest reason that people struggled here was number 2. What are smell memories and why do they occur? And I was looking for you to mention, the relationship of the olfactory bulb and the limbic system. You could have talked about operant and classical conditioning. And so that was the biggest spot that people struggled, just not quite really diving into what are they, why do they occur, and giving me enough information. But for the most part, as I said on the discussions, a lot of you getting like 13, 14, 15 points. Make sure that you always elaborate. Make sure that you always, give me full detail, and don't forget to reply to a classmate. I mentioned a moment ago that I did give you grades and feedback. If you scroll up here where it says Help and Campus Resources, here's this little tab here that says Grades, Timing, Finding Your Feedback, and Using Them as a Learning Opportunity. And if you click on this, I did make a little video about where you can find your grades, how you can access them, and where you can get all that information. So if you didn't see your scores, it might be helpful to watch this quick 2-minute video. And then I just reminded you to always use your grades as a learning opportunity. If you're getting low scores on the discussion, you're probably not giving me enough detail. If you wish you had done better on the first exam, which we'll talk about next, now is a great time to kind of switch things up. So always try to use them as an opportunity to get better. If you like how you did on all the materials so far, keep doing the same thing. If you wish you had done a little bit better, now is a great time to change things up. We still have 3/4 of the class to go, so lots of points left. No need to get discouraged in any way. The other big thing that you had for the first 2 weeks was exam number 1. And I sent out some statistics last night when I sent out your feedback for weeks 1 and 2. But the average amount of time that people took to take the test, and I have this right here, was 59 minutes. And the average score was an 88. So 88%, which is just shy of an A. There were a lot of A's, a lot of B's on the exam, definitely a couple of 100% scores. Most of you appeared like you had plenty of time. The average amount of time was a little less than an hour, and you had 75 minutes to take it. So what that tells me is a lot of you were prepared and did a beautiful job. The exams are all a very similar format and style. So if you did good on this one, approach this next 2-week unit the same way. If you wish you had done a little bit better, again, now is a great time to read a little bit more, do the study guide. If you didn't do that at all, maybe try it out this time around, or just study a little bit differently. So if you ever have questions about that or want to meet with me and talk more about some strategies, I'm more than happy to do that. Otherwise, we will say goodbye to weeks 1 and 2, and we will move into weeks 3 and 4. Let me just check really quickly. Are there any questions, comments, thoughts, anything about what we have covered so far before we move forward? Yes, there's a study guide for every exam. Somebody asked. I'm glad it was helpful. So what you'll notice is the study guide will always be right underneath the exam link. So we are in weeks 3 and 4. Under exam 2, you'll see study guide number 2. So yes, you will always have an exam study guide, and I definitely recommend using them. And I'm glad it was helpful for you. It is basically the exam without the questions. So I'm glad that you used it and found it to be helpful. Anybody else? Any other questions, thoughts, comments, anything before we move on to weeks 3 and 4, the next 2 weeks of our short 8-week semester class? If you think of anything, feel free to put it in the chat. Again, this is your opportunity to, ask me things live, so please feel free to do so. But as of yesterday morning, weeks 3 and 4 are now open for you. And so weeks 3 and 4 are all due by next Sunday, November 6th at 11:59 p.m. So you have all of this week and all of next week. We do have a holiday coming up, my favorite holiday, Halloween. So, plan ahead. If you know you're going to be really busy this weekend, maybe get some extra stuff done now, or you could wait till next week. Totally up to you. But the topics for this week are consciousness and learning. And then next week are memory and cognition. So this week, for week number 3, make sure that you read chapter 5 in the ebook and read chapter 6 in the ebook. You'll also want to read through the lecture for chapter 5 and 6 and watch the lecture video for chapters 5 and 6. That will allow you to get all of that information. All of that together will help you to understand the materials better. Remember that the lectures are in that 5-tab format, right? So this one on consciousness, one of my favorite topics in psychology. It's so interesting. You always have the objectives and the summary. And then on the next page beyond the book, I have a couple of fun little videos about change blindness and inattentional blindness. I think a really helpful video about the different stages of sleep, which is something you will definitely see on the next exam. A little bit about nightmares, sleep disorders, and energy drinks. Again, a very interesting topic. In pop culture, lots of movies and books and shows and songs and all sorts of stuff featuring topics related to consciousness. I have a little clip here from Step Brothers featuring sleepwalking. I have a little clip here from Yes Man featuring Red Bull and the use of energy drinks. And then there's a couple of songs and books that are down here as well. The key terms in review, remember that these are all the terms from this chapter that you need to know for the exam. So if you wanted to study one content or one chapter at a time, these are the terms from chapter 5 to know. And then finally, the last page is the application. One topic for here is dream recall and dream analysis. Dreams are fascinating. We know so little about them, which I talked about in the lecture. But if you struggle to remember your dreams, I made a little video, which might be helpful. And it might also be helpful for the discussion this week. Some websites where you can go to look up common dream interpretations. And then some help, getting help for substance use disorder. So make sure you do that for chapter 5. You'll also want to do the same thing for chapter 6, which is all about learning. Watch all the videos, click on any of the links. Everything that I put in there is meant to help you with understanding the material. So be sure to click on and watch everything. You have 2 discussions for this week, and then you have something new, a little self-assessment, which I'll talk about in a second. But discussion number 5, you are looking here at dreams. And so everybody dreams. We don't always remember our dreams easily. I tend to be obsessed with dreams and dream interpretation, so I've gotten pretty good at remembering mine. But what you'll do for this one is you'll watch my brief video. Make sure you answer all of my questions. And don't forget to reply to a peer, a classmate, to get those 2 points. So here I want you to watch the video. I highlighted some tips for remembering dreams. If you struggle to remember your dreams really badly, remember that in that lecture, I did create a lecture video specifically related to remembering dreams with some more in-depth suggestions. Then I want you to read the little dream article that's right here, right? So you're going to read about some different theories as to why we dream. We don't really know. This is pretty brief. It's just about a page. I also covered this in the textbook. And then you're going to describe to me a dream that you had recently that you still remember with some detail. Make sure it's something that you don't mind sharing, and make sure it's not about me. If it's about me, wait for a different one. Don't tell me how you murdered me in a dream, right? That's just awkward. So wait for a different one. I've had people do that before, as a side note. But you'll describe your dream a little bit to me, and then you're going to analyze it from 2 of the dream theories, either from the article or the book. So how would those theories explain what your dream was, where it came from, what it means? I want to make sure that you describe the theories you have selected in order to receive credit. So if you say that your dream represents wish fulfillment, what does that mean? Describe that a little bit. Make sure that you dive into a little bit of detail. And then finally, why do you personally think that we dream? So you'll hit reply when you're ready. And then don't forget, of course, to reply to a classmate to get those 2 points of credit. Discussion number 6, if we go there, it keeps booting me back. Discussion number 6 is all about learning. That's the other topic that we have for this week. It's probably one of the harder topics in this class, looking at classical conditioning, operant conditioning. My dog is very unhappy about something. So for this one, as always, again, watch my video, right? And then you're going to watch this little clip from The Office. And I'm sure some of you have seen this before. It's a really comical prank video. And when you watch the clip, I want you to think about how and explain how Jim was able to condition Dwight Be sure to reference the appropriate terminology. You're going to identify the US, UR, CS, and CR. So what are the different components of conditioning that are happening in that clip? And then finally, other than amusing pranks, describe one way that you could use the concept and process of classical conditioning, either on yourself or someone else, in your personal, academic, or social life. I want you to be specific, describe what you would do, how it would happen, and make sure that your example is classical conditioning. If you're talking about rewards and punishment, you are in the realm of operant conditioning. So just make sure that you're doing the right one so that you do get full credit. The other thing that we have going on this week, oops, sorry, I went too far out here. My cats are all around me. You can't see them, but my cats are close by. Right, if it comes a little closer, I'll grab them. Really. All right, the other thing you have right here is the self-assessment number 1. So something that you'll do once or twice this semester, now that you've completed the first unit, including exam number 1, I'd like you to take a moment to consider your progress, grades, and approach to the class so far. So you're going to answer the questions on this survey, and you will get 5 points for doing so. So most importantly here, I want you to think about your learning, right? I want you to think about what you're doing. Is it working? Is it not working? Is there anything you need to change? Please be honest. It doesn't benefit me in any way if you tell me what you think I want to hear. This is for you. And you do get 5 points for your reactions and responses. So if you hit take the survey, oh, he's so close. Oh, this is my big cat. This is Rolly. This is my absolutely massive gray cat, but I love this guy so much. Though he's not very happy with me for stopping him. All right, got a little cat. One advantage of being at home, right? We get cats that make their way in here. So again, answer these honestly. I'm doing my part to learn as much as possible, right? Choose one of the answers. On average, the amount of time I've spent reading, watching lectures, answering discussions, and so on is which one of these? I consistently do the reading and turn in my assignments on time. What is your muddiest or most unclear point so far? And then thinking about your scores or anything you plan to do differently to be more successful or maintain your success on the next exam, right? Aw, right? He got an aw. That's my favorite cat. I love that cat. So again, please feel free to be honest. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. This is your chance just to reflect. When you're done, you'll hit submit. And again, you will get 5 points for answering those questions. So make sure that you do that at some point before November 6th, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And then what we'll do next week is I will cover week number 4, right? We'll talk about memory and cognition, discussion 7 and 8, and exam number 2. So for this week, get going on all the materials for week number 3. Read chapter 5, read chapter 6, do the lectures and the lecture videos, discussions 5 and 6. And then, of course, don't forget the self-assessment. Okay? Oops, I'm going to put this in the chat here. Are there any questions at all at the moment? Question mark? Question mark. I'm writing that to myself here. Okay. I'm just going to wait just a minute just to see if there are any questions at all, anything related to this week, or even if it's next week, which I'll cover more next week. Otherwise, I do have a few reminders for you before I give you that extra credit question. One of them is, as always, if you could take a moment just to make sure that you are still subscribed. If you never took the time to do this, it's not too late. The instructions are on Canvas, but it really helps me. You don't need to put your name in the chat if you're subscribed. I can just download your participation. Thank you for doing that. It makes my life a million times easier. Of the 40-something of you in the class, about 15 of you are subscribed. So if you do have the opportunity to do this, I appreciate it. Thank you for saving me the time. Thank you so much. The other reminder that I have for you, let's see, our next live stream, if we look ahead, our next Twitch live stream will be on Tuesday, November 1st at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so make sure that you plan for that. I might move it back to 10:30 so that I can be at home and do it this way if I can't get them to fix the internet in my office. Super annoying that it has been so, inconsistent. But our next Twitch live stream will be next Tuesday morning, November 1st. I can't believe it's November next week at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I hope that you were all able to make it for that. The only other thing I have for you today is to give you the Twitch extra credit question. And this is just a great opportunity, again, to practice what is one of the harder topics in this class. I have a little clip that I would like you to watch called The Attack of the Quack. And I went through this clip in the lecture video, and it's also on Canvas. I'll show you where. But watch this little clip. It's only a minute or so long. And I want you to identify the US, UR, CS, and CR in the clip. You don't need to describe what those things are, just identify them in the clip. And it'll be wonderful practice for the exam and to make sure you're understanding the material. So if you're on Canvas, right here in the lecture on learning, right here, chapter 6, if you click on that, on the very last page where it says application, here's where you can find the Attack of the Quack video. Okay, it says pranks. This is the Attack of the Quack video here. It's a minute and 33 seconds. So make sure that you do watch that. That's where you can get, the access to the video so you can earn those 2 points of extra credit. So you'll watch this, then you'll identify the US, UR, CS, and CR. And then when you're ready to answer the question, since we are in week number 3, you will go to optional Twitch extra credit number 3 and click on that. Then up here at the top, click on Start Assignment. And then here's where you can type your answer. Wow, I can't spell. Type your answer in the box and hit Submit. And that will give you the little confetti burst or those little pinwheels that are in there. And this is due by Sunday night, next Sunday night, November 6th at 11:59 p.m. Please take advantage of these. If you're watching this later and you are subscribed, you can still do this. Or if you're joining me now, make sure at some point you put your name in the chat. Or if you are subscribed, don't worry about it because I will download your names afterward. And those, I think, are everything I wanted to cover with you. Again, I'm sorry for the delay by 30 minutes. I was racing home so that we could still do this today together. And I'm so glad that the internet at home cooperated and I was able to get on and still interact with all of you. So if you do have any questions, I will hang out for a little bit and you're welcome to put them in the chat and I will answer them. If you're feeling good, you're welcome to take off. We are officially done and I will hope to see you next Tuesday morning, November 1st, for our next week 4 Twitch live stream. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. If I don't talk to you before then, have a fantastic Halloween. If you celebrate, don't eat too much candy. I'm not going to follow my own advice, but try not to eat too much candy. Don't make yourself sick. Or if you do, make sure the Tums are nearby, right? But have a fantastic Halloween, a wonderful weekend, and I will hope to see you all next Tuesday morning. And I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while. If you do have any questions that you would like to ask. You as well. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, thank you. I hope you have a fantastic day as well. And again, I am still here. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. everyone. It looks like I am the only one still here, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up so I can download it and post it on our website. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will hope to see you all on Tuesday morning.